Hello sustainable growers, this is Jonathan from Melbourne Aquaponics. In this video I would like to respond to a question that I receive quite often, how to go for commercial aquaponics. So to respond to this question I went to interview someone who is into the process of growing aquaponics commercially. He's got the biggest aquaponics greenhouse in Victoria and it's called Mr. Peng. And in this video, that's what we're gonna see. We're gonna have an interview with Mr. Peng. Before that, don't forget to download your free gift from the description of this video. This gift is a 6-step process to build your own aquaponics setup. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hello sustainable growers, this is Jonathan from Melbourne Aquaponics and today I have the opportunity to be with Mr. Peng, Citizen Peng, who's got a YouTube channel with I think 10,000 subscribers.
Yes.
Yeah, big YouTube channel and he's got an amazing aquaponics setup here in a greenhouse. I think that's the biggest in Victoria.
Yeah.
Maybe the biggest in Australia.
No. I only know the biggest in Victoria.
In Victoria, yeah, that's impressive. I'm so happy to be here.
You're welcome.
Imagine.
You're welcome. Yeah.
It's very impressive. So, yeah, Mr. Peng, can you just telling us a little bit about you? Because I know that obviously you are Japanese.
No, I'm Chinese.
You are Chinese.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes,
sorry,
yes.
I thought you were Japanese. You are Chinese, and you were born in Australia. Or?
Yes, I came to Australia about 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
30.
Yeah.
30 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is my passion. I always try to grow something and enjoy the plants, the animals, and good food.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Yeah.
Living in with nature, that kind of thing.
So in China, you were already into this field. You were already growing things at home in your backyard, or
No. You don't have that kind of privilege.
no?
I don't think you can do that kind of thing in China. No, not now. But in Australia, yes, it is very doable and a beautiful thing to enjoy.
Yeah, so in China, people are not using aquaponics at the moment, right? It's not very famous.
They are very interested in the system. But however, very few people, own land.
Yeah, that's the thing. The land is very expensive there, right?
Not only expensive, because there is no such thing as private land ownership.
Ah, okay.
So you literally need to rely on government to allocate public land to you, which is next to impossible if you don't have enough connection, social connection.
Ah, right.
It's not an economic issue, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you mean. So, but the advantage of aquaponics is that in a very small surface area, we can still have a quite high productivity, right? So it will be adapted, especially for China, if people have not access to big land, even if they got just a little backyard, at least they can start to grow a bit of food, right?
Yeah.
So maybe in the next few years we're gonna see more of those kind of setups, maybe in private backyards in China.
Privately, they indeed are doing something. I actually, have someone learning from me, who in China, who set up small systems. It is a way of doing it, but however, most of them living in apartments.
Yeah.
The backyard thing is very Australian.
They don't even have a balcony or something, right?
Yeah, balcony is okay, but most of balcony are not designed to carry that much weight.
The weight, yeah, that's the thing. Okay. And so obviously here you got a very large production. I mean, relatively, comparing to other aquaponics keepers. Have you noticed any significant difference in the quality of the production you have here comparing to a normal garden?
Oh yes. No, there is no scientific proof that aquaponic produces will be better quality-wise than any other. But however, I have noticed that my customer they give me feedback. They say the vegetable you grow tastes better. Tastes better than they buy from the supermarket.
Yes.
I suspect one of the reasons is that you don't get that fresh.
Yeah, exactly. They are super fresh.
Yeah,
right?
yes. This is the one reason. Another reason that some crops need to be matured to have a full, around, flavor.
Yes.
But the supermarket won't wait for the maturity. You know what I mean?
Exactly. They pick them. They pick them when they're still young, and it's ripe in the fridge, right?
Yes.
So that's where you lose a lot of vitamins.
I think this is the two major reasons. Not because of the growing method. Of course, the growing method matter in some way.
Yeah.
But we still need a bit more scientific proof for that.
Yeah. I think there are some studies, but it's very hard to find.
But one thing I can show you is certain. We grow without pesticides and herbicides. So it's not a matter of do we have more than the conventional growth. It's a matter, do we have less harmful substances in the produce?
Yes, exactly.
I think you should think this way is better.
yeah, and it definitely makes sense completely.
Yeah.
So you are talking about your customers. So at the moment, you are selling to few local people, or what is your market?
My friend, a circle of friends. So when I have produced more than I can consume, I will share among them.
Yes.
So they pay a small price, but they're happy. Because I sell below the market price, so they're happy to buy from me and experience something very enjoyable.
Yes. That's very new and very in trend. So people are interested.
Yes.
But that's people that are local, right?
It's a local. Yes.
Yeah. And in the future, because just when I arrived, we had a very small talk, and you told me that you wanted to expand to go in commercial size. So what is the market strategy here?
Okay. Even I am talking about the commercial scale compared to conventional growth, it's still a very tiny system.
Yes.
They are talking about hundreds of acres, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So my strategy is very simple: to grow something that not readily available on the market for very specific ethnic groups.
Okay, yeah.
So they have that kind of cultural preference for certain types of vegetables, but they are unable to buy anywhere else.
Yes.
But I can grow them readily here.
Yeah.
So you can make a bit of money from that kind of niche market.
Yeah. So it's very specific vegetables that you can't find in the supermarket. And is it Chinese vegetables that you want to grow?
Mainly Asian vegetables. I'll give you an example. Okay, for instance, we have a watercress here. Yeah. But in Western cuisine, watercress is only used for garnish, a part of a salad or something.
Yes.
You don't eat the large amount of watercress. But in Asian cuisine, watercress can be used in a hot pot,
Yeah.
So that's a huge demand for large amounts, you put in the soup and, boil them and eat them immediately, that kind of thing. So, so you need to keep on growing this kind of thing to satisfy their demand.
Yeah, and watercress is growing really well in aquaponics, right?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I see. And what are your biggest challenges at the moment in terms of, technical challenges in aquaponics?
In this part of the world, two things are very challenging. One is the level of power consumption.
Yes.
And especially the power price is going up and up. If you want to move that large body of water, so frequently 24/7.
Yes.
You need to have a very secure, not only secure but sustainable and substantial amount of energy.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
And by the way, what kind of pump are you using? What size of pumps?
Altogether, I need a pump to have enough power to move, let's say, 30 cubic meter of water, circle them once an hour.
Per hour,
Yeah, you need to figure out. Yeah, you figure out how many. Yeah,
that's a large.
A lot of them.
So how many watts approximately?
You need at least at this moment at least let's say 3,000.
3,000 watts.
3,000
yeah,
watts.
yeah.
That's quite a lot.
That's
why I installed the solar panels.
Okay, yeah. So you try to find solutions to decrease this consumption.
This is one. Another thing is that in this part of Victoria, winter can be quite cold.
Yes.
And very long. So the water temperature, if you don't heat them, the water temperature even in the greenhouse can can drop below, let's say, 12 degrees Celsius.
Yes.
If you don't keep that many fish, that's okay. Okay, if you only keep 100 fish, 1 cubic meter, but if you want to sustain large quantity of fish over the winter, you need to heat them up.
Yeah.
This is a very challenging.
That's right.
Increase costs.
It increases the cost. Yeah, exactly. And so you are trying to find some ways to keep the water warm during winter.
But you can offset. By keeping the water temperature, let's say, above 18 degrees.
Yes.
So you can still grow some green vegetables over the winter, and you sell these vegetables and pay for the
electricity.
Electricity.
That's great.
So even you break even in the winter time, you make it up in warm weather.
Yes. Yeah. No, I understand. It completely makes sense. Yeah. And in terms of deficiencies, sometimes we have some vegetables that have some deficiencies in minerals or in iron. Are you facing this issue? Because you got a very big system, and I saw that you use a very different media to the one we use in Melbourne Aquaponics. So
yes.
I don't know if you are facing those kind of things.
Okay, this is $1 million question. Okay. Yes. My experience is this. First, the quality of fish food is a key issue.
Yes.
If the nutrient makeup of the fish food is somehow unbalanced or not wholesome enough, then you will have later problems. Okay, because the breakdown of the fish food will not produce something is absent originally in the fish food.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Second, the amount of fish food put into the system is another critical issue. If you don't have enough in the system, keep on breaking down, there will be deficiencies, nutrient deficiencies.
Yes.
Second one. The third one is if the filtration media is not correct, it won't hold that much nutrient. Most of them will wash down in the water. You want to have a very large amount of surface area to form a biofilm to hold, like a bank, to hold the accumulation of nutrients for the plant to grow. If you can do that, then the deficiency of nutrients will happen from time to time, but it won't be a constant problem. Okay. But the entire system require a certain amount of time to reach their maturity.
Yes.
So you need to be patient to wait for a bit longer to have them happen. But at the same time, there is a reality is that you have to supplement some macronutrients.
Yes.
Okay, some kind of element.
Yeah.
This type of thing happens in every single grow environment. Even you grow in the soil, sometimes you need to do it.
Yes.
So this is not a real issue here. The real issue is the sufficient macronutrient, not macronutrient. So if you have well-balanced fish food, enough quantity, good filtration material, there won't be a problem.
Okay.
Given time, let the system mature.
Okay. What I found in my side, I work with a lot of different very small systems, especially comparing to yours. I'm talking about less than 1,000 liters. But I got several of them, so I can do some experimentations. What I realize is that obviously the fish food we use, personally I use creatine, which is one of the biggest supplier of fish food in the world, but they are specialized for aquaculture, right? Not aquaponics. So the fish food has got a profile that is designed to cover the needs of the fish,
not for the
which is different to the vegetable. So obviously the fish are going to be fine, but all my systems I always need to add some minerals. So I add some powders. I add some powders of oligo elements such as calcium, potassium, the 12 elements that are needed for the plants. Plus I add some chelated iron because I always got some deficiencies of iron if I don't do it.
So I understand your situation. For a small system, I don't believe you can overcome that kind of problem so easily. But I have a suggestion. If you run a small system, and I strongly recommend you using grow beds with media, not let the vegetable flow in the water. Okay, and when it comes to the media, I strongly recommend you using coarse sand. So the sand grain is about 3 mils, between 3 to 5.
Okay.
So that will somehow help a little bit, but no. In the end, because the system, the entire setup is not specifically designed for such tiny system. The hobby system is really for fun.
That's right. I mean,
if you can keep your fish alive and eat your own growth, and you really don't mind to put an extra bit of money for nutrients, because this is not a business. You don't actually counting the cost.
We do. Because the idea is to go bigger, right? But we always put a bit of minerals, but the minerals are not so expensive. The tricky situation, the tricky part for me, the challenge is really to find the good quantity of minerals to put in the system, right? But it's not such a big issue, I think, to put a bit of minerals.
No.
In a normal environment in the soil, you got minerals because you got all the rocks from the earth that are coming at the surface with
you have fungus.
Exactly, you got a lot of living creatures that are moving the minerals at the surface, and therefore you always got a supply of minerals, which you don't have in a closed system such as in aquaponics.
True.
So that's a bit the challenge we have, and that's why I asked you if you had the same kind of little issues. Challenge.
When the system is young, no matter how big or how small, the problem is always there, because just as we mentioned, the minerals, in soil produced by so many microorganisms, and especially one condition that does not exist in the aquaponic system is anaerobic. So, for instance, some minerals need anaerobic condition to generate. For instance, chelated iron sometimes require a bit of anaerobic and a very acidic condition to naturally occur somehow. But this is a detail. I don't want to get into too much. But this is a challenge for aquaponic system, is that the aquaponic system is not completely soil-like.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's quite different, right? Because we try to maintain this environment which is aerobic. But for me, I understand that I really understand your point, and I do share this this view that in a soil you got very different area, different reactions, and different ecosystems as well, where you got different reactions that are happening. But the reality is that the minerals are coming from the rocks, right? So if you don't put them in your system at the beginning, they are not going to appear. Whatever reactions you have into your aquaponics setup.
Nothing comes from nothing.
Exactly. So that's why we still need to supplement.
Yes.
If you are watching this video on YouTube, you will see that on the description of the video just below, you will have access to some free gifts first you have access to a 6-step process to be able to build your own aquaponics system in good conditions. I developed this 6-step process because I found that too many beginners are basically starting aquaponics with a wrong design. So if you want to build your own aquaponics setup, please just follow this 6-step process. It's completely free, right? I really designed it to help you to build your setup in good conditions and therefore to succeed in aquaponics. The second gift is for people who already have aquaponics. A very common problem we have in aquaponics is that we got the leaves of the vegetables that are turning yellow. And the reason why is because basically in aquaponics we sometimes need to add some minerals, otherwise the vegetables have some deficiencies. So if you have this problem, I made a special video about it as well, and you can have access to it in the description of the video. It's the free bonus video. If you are very interested into aquaponics, you can also have access to a webinar, a free webinar specific to aquaponics. I deliver a lot of information. Finally, you are probably aware that I wrote a digital aquaponics manual called The Art of Aquaponics, and you can have access to a free excerpt of this aquaponics manual where I add a lot of value and I give you a lot of my knowledge about aquaponics. So don't forget that you can have access to those 4 gifts on the description of the video, and I'm sure they're going to help you to develop your aquaponics setup and to produce your own sustainable and healthy food in good conditions. Bye bye. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to get your free gift from this screen. You can also leave me a comment below the video, subscribe to the channel and see my last video. I really hope to see you soon, and I wish you a fantastic success with aquaponics. Have a good crop!